My Israel journey began a little over 4 years ago, back in 2012. I was a baby Christian, and I'm reading into the Bible, and I'm looking for the truth of who I am, my identity. And as I'm learning about going out and sharing the good news of the faith, learning about the gospel of the kingdom, I realized that the roots of that gospel, the roots of the kingdom, had a distinct place with a promise, a covenant that was made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. A promise of a land that they would inherit, that their seed would inherit. And did you know that that land was never fully attained, acquired by the seed of Israel? Never in the history. And I began to look at that and I began to say, wow, so this is a future prophecy that the descendants of Israel are going to return to this land and they're going to live in it and they're going to live in the full dimensions of it. But how does that go along with the gospel? And so God took me to Acts chapter 1, verse 6, the very last question the disciples asked Messiah before he ascended. Did you know what that was? They said, Lord, will you at this time restore the kingdom back to Israel? And see, they were looking for a physical kingdom. And after 3.5 years, if this was all just spiritual kingdom now, the kingdom's just within us, and there's no physical element to it, you would think that they wouldn't be asking this question. And you would think that the Messiah would immediately cut it down and say, oh, you silly disciples, haven't you been with me so long? Shouldn't you realize the truth by now? It's all about us going to the heavens one day. But no, it's about a physical land and a physical kingdom. And our Messiah is a physical king who will sit on a physical throne as the son of David in Jerusalem, a physical city. This is good news because after 2,000 years of desolation, we are now finally seeing the prophets, their prophecies come into life. We are seeing restoration in our day. And it's exciting. And I knew that I had to be a part of this. Now again, I was a baby Christian. I didn't know how I would get over there. But here I am on a plane in the summer of 2014. And I'm on the way back. I'm on the way to the land. And I'm sitting there thinking, wow, God, I'm on the way to the very promise. I'm seeing restoration because your word promises that the foreigners are going to come to the land. And they're going to serve in your vineyards and your olive groves. Isaiah 61:5. And this is a promise of the Messiah and the things that he would accomplish. And Messiah lives within me. And here I am, about to be a fulfillment of biblical prophecy as I serve with the ministry Hayovel, which is all about serving Jewish farmers in the vineyards and in their olive groves, helping them to resettle the land, resettle the promise that was made to our forefathers. And so I get off the plane and I take that whiff of Israeli air for the first time, breathing it in, and I don't know how to explain it except for I knew that I was home. I knew that I was home. And then I get to the campsite, the base site for where our operations take place, and it's the biblical Mount of Blessing. Biblical Mount of Blessing. And here we are, serving as a physical blessing to and for our Jewish brethren, and to and for this land, which the Bible talks about our hearts being intricately linked to. And as I enter onto this mountain, into this camp, I'm greeted by hundreds of other Christians who are just as excited and just as passionate as I am to get to the work of this restoration, taking our hands and physically putting them into the soil, and the soil where our very patriarchs, our forefathers, our descendants walked thousands of years before. And we're in the vineyards and literally holding the grape clusters in our hands as we're clipping them and putting them into the crates to give to the Jewish farmers, as we're serving them, helping them, to think this is prophecy in our hands, because this should not be here. And for 2,000 years, there was no produce on the land. There was very little, if anything. Trees could not grow. The land, the ground would not produce nutrients. But God prophesied that one day that land was going to flow again like the Garden of Eden. And we are seeing the beginnings of that. We are seeing the roots of that today. And my brethren, I got to be a part of that for 3 months in 2014. And then I got to return for 3.5 months in 2015. And I can tell you, my heart is intricately linked with the land. While I was there, I got to go see specific covenant places, such as Elon Moreh, where the promise was given to Abraham, that this land, look as far as you can see, I'm giving this land to your descendants. I got to stand there on that mountain top and see the land where our forefathers walked. And then you get to go to Shiloh, which is where the tabernacle stood for over 360 years. And the Israelites came and they danced before our God. They sung and they praised before our God. Of which, when we're in those vineyards out there working day in and day out, we're out there singing praises. We've got violins. We've got amazing players out there. And we're worshiping God in spirit and in truth. And we're putting our hands to the work of this great restoration. We're getting to be a part of that. And then we get to go to Jerusalem, the city of our King, of which Psalm 137 says, if we do not exalt Jerusalem above our chief joy, let my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth. And here we are, getting to ascend up to the holy city, singing the psalms of ascent, of which the Levites and the priests sang as they were going up the steps to the altar in the temple 2,000 years ago. And we're getting to walk and trace their footsteps. As we're on the Temple Mount, the very place where the temple stood 2,000 years ago. And we're feeling the tensions up there. We're also feeling that battle that is going on in the world. And that we are making a difference. By being there, we are making a difference. We are standing alongside our Jewish brethren here in these last days. And we are linking arms with them. The restoration is not just about people. It's not just about going out and making disciples. It's not just about healing the sick. These things are amazing. Casting out devils out of people, raising the dead, these things are amazing. But this gospel goes so much deeper than that. We're talking about a true teshuvah in Hebrew, a return. We're seeing a full return back to the land of Israel. We're seeing that restoration take place today. And as we grow up into our identity in Christ, which is something that I've been very passionate about this last year, is growing up to my identity, who I am in Christ, how to walk out this life as a new creation. I'm realizing that not only are my hands blessed to be able to lay hands on the sick and see them recover, but they're blessed when we put our hands to that land. When our feet are walking on that land, we are making a difference. Everything we pour into that land is making a difference. We are the hope of the world, the light of the world, the salt of the earth. And we're getting to now return where the gospel was commanded by our Messiah to go forth from Jerusalem to Judea and Samaria and then to the ends of the earth. Now in this day and age, we're able to take this same gospel back to Judea and Samaria, back to Jerusalem. But not just with words. We're able to do it with our actions, by our love, truly laying our life down for our Jewish brethren, our brethren of the Messiah. We're getting to do this today. And so I ask you, I encourage you, join in this mission. Join us in the work that we're doing. If you can come physically, be there. Come join us. Let's link arms. If you can't make it physically, then partner with us. Partner with us. Do your part to be part of this great restoration. You don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss it. Be blessed.